Albert. Thank you, Albert, for your courage, your leadership, for what you do every day fighting against hate. Thank you to Pfizer for all you do, your people standing up against hate. It's very special to me to be here after Albert, to have him here and to take this award because he and Pfizer have been amazing. Please join me in recognizing them again. It's particularly special for Albert, for me to have Albert here because my daughters are here, Chloe and Abby. And I've spoken about Albert, and for them to be able to hear him and learn from him the way I have learned from him is very meaningful. I am honored today to accept this award on behalf of the over 700,000 courageous people of Accenture who strive every day to live our values of respect, equity, inclusion for all people, and zero tolerance for hate and bigotry of any kind, including anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, xenophobia, and hate based on race and ethnicity and sexual orientation. I'm humbled to accept the award from the ADL because the ADL has fought and stood up for marginalized communities around the world for over 100 years, fighting anti-Semitism, extremism, hatred and bigotry and injustice. And we owe a debt of gratitude to their fight. We are proud that we signed in September the ADL Workplace Against Anti-Semitism, and we're deeply appreciative that the ADL is focusing on the workplace. Thank you, Ben, and the entire board of directors, and Jonathan, and the incredible team at the ADL for what you do every day to keep the enduring mission of the ADL going. We need you now more than ever. Thank you. It is really inspiring to be in this room, to look around, to see so many people, to know how many people are watching, and especially to know that there are nearly 1,000 students here. I hope that as we leave here, that we all choose to be allies of another community, that we know that we have allies standing with us. Everyone here has chosen to learn more, to do more. When we leave here, we can look around when we're at events, when we're at school, to see is anyone being left out and take an action to include them. And when they need us to speak, that we will speak. And if you take anything away from my speech today, I hope it is this: that in order to eradicate hate, we must both speak up and take action against hate whenever we see it, and every day we must intentionally build bridges across our communities. We must build the foundation of trust and understanding and shared humanity that will be the opposite of hate. Today, I'd like to share 2 stories about my and Accenture's journey, and then some insights that I hope will help other companies. The first story is about a major turning point at Accenture. Let me take you back to July 6th, 2016. In the 2 weeks prior, 2 African-American men, Philando Castile and Alton Sterling, had been shot to death by police officers, and then Dallas officers were ambushed, killing 5 and injuring 9 others. Devastated by this violence, I sent out a first of its kind at Accenture invitation to our then 50,000 people an invitation to a webcast and to local community meetings, an invitation to talk about race, not diversity, to talk, and I quote, about race, racial injustice and violence, and how it is affecting our people at Accenture. It was the first of its kind because the accepted wisdom at that time was that issues like race or hatred or religion were not accepted in the workplace. These were social issues. They were not appropriate to talk about at work. And yet it had become very clear that we could never meet our aspiration to be a company where everyone felt they belonged if we were asking whole parts of our community to park their realities at the door. Our African American colleagues at the time said they were coming to work at a time of immense pain to their community, and the silence was deafening. The night before the webcast, I was nervous. You see, I had many people who were encouraging, who thought we were doing the right thing, including our amazing Chief Leadership and Human Resources Officer, Ellen Shook, who has made immeasurable contributions at Accenture to diversity and has been a role model in standing up for hate. But there were others who were understandably very uncomfortable at deviating from that accepted wisdom, and they did not want me to proceed. We went forward, and it was a massive change and turning point for Accenture. After the webcast and those community meetings, the feedback was overwhelming. Our diverse communities said that we had changed the culture, that they felt heard and understood. Our non-diverse communities thanked me because they had not understood, and there was universal pride that we had been willing to have these difficult conversations in the office. That webcast became a vehicle we call Building Bridges, which we have turned to over and over again. And since 2016, we have intentionally been working to build bridges, to take actions, and to speak up internally and externally against hate, against racism, against discrimination. We have a lot more to go, but we have made enormous progress, which brings me to my second story. This past October, after the horrific terrorist attack by the Hamas in Israel, and as we witnessed the tragic loss of life in Israel and for the Palestinian people in Gaza, I gathered a small group of leaders in a conference room in Chicago. Leaders on my leadership team who were Jewish, Muslim, and Christian. Our focus on diversity and innovation over the years had meant that I naturally had a leadership team that was diverse, including religion. And so we were getting together, not newly formed, but as colleagues and friends. Emotions were raw. Our first order of priority had been to make sure that our people in Israel were safe. We did not have an office in Gaza. But now we felt the pressure to speak, to find the words to acknowledge the pain felt by our people across communities in the world, to make sure our people felt safe at work, and to articulate what it means to respect each other when we have differences, what it means to have zero tolerance for hate. With the courageous help of our faith-based employee resource groups, and leveraging our diversity, our common values, and our bonds as colleagues, we found those words. We sent a memo to our 700,000 people called Living Our Values. We acknowledged the pain, the grief, the trauma, the fear that was across communities and faith. We talked about our sadness at the ongoing loss. And we articulated clearly that we have zero tolerance for anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, xenophobia, and hate speech of any kind including the defense of terrorism or the equating of terrorism with people or religions. We talked about our absolute obligation to live our values at Accenture every day, our values of equity, inclusion, belonging for all, and psychological and physical safety. And every member of my global management committee individually signed the memo. This was 45 leaders from across the world. We wanted to demonstrate that we were united against hate and united by our shared humanity. I was so proud of my colleagues and our people and of the progress we have made since 2016. We have more to do, and we will keep fighting because we believe that companies have a very important role to play in fighting hate. We must speak up and take action when we see it, and we must strive every day to build the foundation in our companies and our communities that will help us eradicate hate. I wanted to share just a few of our insights in how to build that foundation. First, we believe that companies must adopt and clearly articulate publicly and regularly that their company values include zero tolerance against hate and bigotry of any kind, and that your company values include an unwavering commitment to diversity, inclusion, and equality, because it is the right thing to do and because it has been proven over and over again that it is good for business. And those values must explicitly include diversity of religion and zero tolerance for hate against religions, any religion. Our values as companies must also include caring about people professionally and personally. We will never eradicate hate until we care about each other and recognize in each other that shared humanity. The second thing that we have learned is that it is absolutely essential that companies form and financially support strong employee resource groups. These groups provide networks for our employees so they can feel like they belong. They're essential advisors to leadership. And if your company has employees who are interested, those employee resource groups must include faith-based employee groups. We formed our first faith-based employee group in 2005, and today we have groups for Baha'i, Buddhism, Jewish, Muslim, Sikh, Hindu, and Christian faiths, and an interfaith group. Our third lesson has been the importance of allies and forming formal ally networks. Today we have an ally network of over 140,000 people, and our people say it makes a difference. It's a powerful group of people who've said they will take action to make us more inclusive. It makes our people feel like they belong, to know that others have said, I will stand with you. And finally, and very importantly, companies must ensure that there is a fair process to be able to speak up when there is hate or alleged hate or racism or discrimination, and give people confidence that they can do so. And the teams that investigate must be diverse. They must reflect the employee population so that both the person speaking up and the person who is alleged to have done something wrong can feel that the process is safe. Now, companies are led by people, and there are a couple of lessons I've learned as a leader of an amazing company. The first is you will never always get it right. Never. You need to have the best advisors, you need to listen, and then make the best decision you can. And you will still sometimes get it wrong. And when you get it wrong, you have to have the humility to listen and make changes. And second, you will also never make everyone happy. Having the courage to speak up and take action against hate is not taking sides. It's also not about being popular. It is about living as an individual and a company your values. It is about doing what you believe in. Thank you again, Jonathan and the ADL, for this honor. Thank you to my family and friends. Thank you for all being here together. Thank you all for being here. Together, we will be stronger than the forces of hate. Thank you.